Welcome to the 10 Essential Feldenkrais lessons. My name's Caitlin Schmidt at the Wellness Station, and this is my colleague Paul.
Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is for you.
It's our morning. So we're going to start today with the pelvic clock lesson, and this is one of the foundational lessons that Feldenkrais teaches, and it's one of the most important, Paul believes, in the series that we're going to be giving you.
Yeah, I think you'll find it really interesting. So I'm just going to give you a little quick view of the spine with the pelvis and how many vertebrae there are that move. There's 24 vertebrae that move relative to one another, and if I put it across my lap like that, you can almost imagine this like a set of piano keys. And what the pelvic clock does is it allows your brain, or provides your brain with the opportunity to get a feel for the various parts of you. As an infant, your body, you come out of the womb not really knowing much about your own body, and based on life experiences, you end up developing more and more of a body map, a self-image. And so, for example, a violinist, their left hand that they use so dexterously compared to the right hand, the right side of the brain that controls the left hand is way more developed. So how developed is your brain, how developed is my brain, Caitlin's brain, relative to how well we know to engage the little muscles of the spine? Most of the people that come to us, actually something back there is the back, and that's about...
This is just one long bone for
It's just
a lot of people
right,
in their brain.
One long, and sometimes one long, very curved bone.
Yes.
Yeah. So we oftentimes start with this lesson. Not always, but it's a wonderful lesson. And it's called the pelvic clock because if Caitlin was sitting on a little clock dial, and for those of you under 30 who don't see analog clocks very much, it would be something like this here. And so you can see, but it's actually probably smaller because what we're imagining is that clock dial, imaginary clock dial, is underneath Caitlin, and as she moves, she actually is going to move pressure towards 12 o'clock, pressure towards 6 o'clock, and towards any number at all.
So this is 9 o'clock,
yeah,
and this is 3 o'clock.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
And what we often use is a balance disc, very often. So Caitlin's going to sit on that because she's ready to start off her day in a fun way.
Ooh.
And so I would possibly, if she was my client, I would maybe guide her, would you bring your hands to your chest? Okay, great. And how about if you look down a little bit and let your pelvis roll back a little bit? And then if you look up just a little bit and let your pelvis roll forward. So what's happening right now as she goes back and forth is she's moving her pelvis, which is like a ball at the bottom of the spine, and she's moving her head, another ball, at the top of the spine. She's moving them in a counterbalancing way, partially because of the balance disc. Her body, when she goes back with her pelvis right now, her body has an inclination to balance itself and not to fall backwards, and so her top part of her body goes forward. Now what's happening as she continues to do that, and I'll show you from the side, I'll just make the spine do what she's doing. You can see all the individual segments are moving, or at least lots of them are bound to be moving, and they're changing. As you change shape, you're sending information into the control center. The little woman, the little guy in the control center is going, oh, I have all these little muscles down here that I don't talk to all that often. So we're getting those coordinated. So why don't you go ahead and rest your arms and demonstrate the 3 and 9 o'clock one. So there's what's happening. And one of the things that's not on this plastic spine here, of course, are the ribs, but you'd be seeing an opening of the rib cage there, and then a folding in on that side, and then an opening on the other side. And you might wonder, well, you know, why do I need to improve these movements? Well, Mother Nature gave us all these motions because they're really important as part of life. So if Caitlin was going to, if she was standing in the kitchen and she needed to reach up for something with her left arm, and it was a little bit beyond a simple reach, she might actually raise the right heel up, which would tip the pelvis this way, and give her another 2 or 3 inches reach. And that's one of the most favorite responses that I get from my clients that are like 5, 6 or less, is they'll say, "Oh, it's made life so much easier in the kitchen."
Well, and let me show you, just to contrast it with, if you lean towards it, which we mostly do, is put our weight towards what we're reaching for. Stiffness, my neck's tight, my low back feels tighter with that. So if I'm reaching towards something and looking at it versus this nice fluid long movement, I'm really using my whole spine.
Yeah, and she looks away at the last moment because that actually allows the top of the spine as well to participate. So that if she was still looking at it, it would look like this and then like that, which is not wrong, but if you're repeating that motion for whatever reason, that's going to put a lot of strain on the neck, and that just gives you another inch movement, or maybe a half an inch, but some more reach. So the pelvic clock, now how about if you show how much fun you can do with going around with it? So basically, your imagination is the only limit you have as to what kinds of movements you can do when you're on the clock. Now right now, Caitlin's moving as if her spine in fact is all these segments. And now how about if you do the 12 and 6 o'clock movement, but pretend you're on a rocking chair, which means your spine would be like it was one long bone. So she's not moving in a tense way, she's moving in a way that's very functional, but it's a way that doesn't engage the individual segments of the spine. If she was sitting on a rocking chair, it would look like this and like this, and she'd be pivoting at her hips. Her pelvis would be pivoting, the socket of the pelvis would be pivoting around the thigh, but there wouldn't be any change of shape in the spine. And most of the people that come to see us just don't know their spine. It's like most people play their spine like someone playing a piano with mittens on and 2x4s in their hands. I mean, I'm not exaggerating.
It's like this.
Yeah, they don't know the spine very well at all. And it's, of course, the center of ourselves, and so incredibly beautiful to experience the flow that we're designed to have. And you see that in kids. We tend to lose it as we get older. And what's beautiful about this is it can be done in so many different positions. You want to lie down and just kind of show how we can do that?
Sure.
I'll get this out of the way.
So now my clock is going to be like this. So,
Yeah.
if that helps.
Yeah, maybe just a speck higher. Yeah. Yep. And so now she could be, so I might teach that by encouraging her to first get a feel for pulling her tummy in a little bit and flattening her back just a bit, and that would be rolling towards, let's say, 12 o'clock, and then just coming back to neutral, and then maybe going beyond there, pushing her belly out a little bit and arching her back a bit, and that's sort of towards 6 o'clock. And you'll notice that she's doing that her head is moving as well. So the whole spine, moment by moment, is changing contact with the table. All that contact and all that change provides her brain with more and more information. Ah, that's that mid-back. Ah, that's the lower back. Basically, once again, giving oneself the experience of, oh, this is how we move. So I hope that you find this interesting.
Yes.
And thank you, Caitlin. And we'll look forward to seeing you again. Take care.
Thank you.